Chosen one, I am speaking directly to you now, not to everyone, not to the curious, not to those who clicked by accident. This is for you, and you know it. Before your mind starts questioning why these words feel different, understand this first and clearly: this is a message from God, and it has reached you in perfect divine timing. Not early, not late. Exactly when your spirit could finally hear it without fear. You were not pulled here by chance. Something within you recognized truth before logic had time to interfere. Chosen one, the stillness you have been walking through is not punishment. The confusion is not failure. The silence is not abandonment. What you are experiencing is hidden movement. It is God working beneath the surface while your outer world appears paused. You are not stuck. You are between signals. You are in a sacred pause of divine calling and between seasons, where the old instructions have expired and the new ones are still forming. This space is uncomfortable because it is holy. I know the pressure you feel. I know the questions you carry quietly at night. You wonder why things slowed down just as you were becoming aware. You wonder why doors closed when you finally had the courage to knock. That discomfort is not weakness. It is the evidence of a chosen one transition. Spiritual awakening does not feel gentle at first. It feels like disorientation because your soul is being recalibrated for a higher assignment. God never accelerates a chosen one without first stripping false urgency. Hear me clearly now. This message from God is not meant to entertain you. It is meant to stabilize you. There is a war you sense but cannot always name. It is not just around you. It is against your clarity, your patience, and your belief in your own calling. That is why your path looks different. That is why your timing does not match others. Your light is necessary, and necessary light is always contested before it is revealed. Chosen one, you are not imagining this pull. You were called. You did not wake up spiritually by accident. Spiritual awakening is disruptive because it removes illusions before it delivers direction. God often quiets external signals, so you learn discernment internally. This is how leaders are formed. This is how vessels are prepared. If you feel aligned with this truth, pause for a moment and comment 777, not for validation, but as a declaration that your spirit recognizes divine alignment. As an elder on this path, let me tell you something plainly. Every chosen one passes through a season where nothing makes sense but everything matters. Between signals is where identity is refined. Divine calling is clarified when comfort is removed. You are being taught how to stand without leaning on outcomes. You are being trained to trust timing instead of forcing movement. This phase does not last forever, but it must be honored fully. Circle back to the beginning of this message and hear it again with your heart open. This is a message from God. You are not imagining it. You were called because your awareness is needed. The war is real, but so is your protection. Your light is not optional. It is assigned. If this touched your soul, comment 111, because deep down, beyond fear and doubt, you already know it. You were called. The illusion of being stuck. Chosen one, hear this slowly and let it settle where fear used to live. What you have been calling being stuck is not stagnation. It is preparation. It is the illusion created when divine timing pauses your external movement so your internal foundation can be rebuilt. This is a message from God, and you are not imagining it. The reason this phase feels so uncomfortable is because it was never designed to feel familiar. It was designed to change you. Many chosen ones reach this point and start questioning themselves. You look around and see others moving forward, advancing, building, celebrating. Meanwhile, your life feels quiet, plans stall, energy shifts, direction blurs, and the mind, desperate for certainty, labels this as failure. But spiritual awakening does not follow visible timelines, it follows alignment. When God is preparing a chosen one, he often removes motion before he delivers momentum. This is where comparison becomes dangerous. You were never meant to run the same race as everyone else. Your divine calling requires a different rhythm. The pause you are in is not because you are behind, it is because you are ahead of what your old identity could sustain. God will not send you into the next season with outdated strength, outdated thinking, or borrowed confidence. So he slows you down, not to punish you, but to protect you. The silence you feel is not rejection, it is recalibration. God's message often becomes quieter before a major redirection because noise interferes with discernment. When too many signs surround you, you rely on reassurance. When signs are removed, you learn trust. This is how chosen ones are trained. This is how spiritual authority is formed. Hidden movement does not announce itself, but it is always active. Spiritual awakening often brings disorientation because truth disrupts comfort. When illusions fall away, the mind scrambles to regain control. You start replaying decisions, doubting instincts, questioning worth. But uncertainty is not a sign of loss. It is proof of elevation. You are no longer operating from autopilot. You are becoming conscious, and consciousness always feels unstable before it becomes powerful. Chosen one, this is the part of the journey most people quit. They mistake the pause for abandonment. They interpret stillness as disfavor. They assume God has moved on. But those who are truly called are held in silence longer because their assignment requires precision. Your light is necessary. And necessary light must be refined so it does not burn the wrong places. Understand this clearly. Hidden movement operates beneath what you can measure. While you feel paused, relationships are being rearranged. Strength is being deposited. Discernment is sharpening. Old desires are dissolving. New capacity is forming. You may not see progress, but you are becoming progress. This is what makes the chosen one path lonely. Not everyone can recognize growth that happens in the unseen. Return to the beginning of this truth. This is a message from God. You were called. You did not wake up spiritually by accident. The war you sense is real. It is against your patience, your identity, and your willingness to trust divine timing over human urgency. That is why pressure intensifies right before clarity arrives. That is why doubt gets louder when purpose is close. Do not rush this season. Do not shame yourself for resting. Do not diminish the power of waiting. Stillness is not weakness when it is guided. The illusion of being stuck dissolves the moment you realize you are being positioned. Your calling is not delayed. It is being aligned. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it. You were called. Between seasons is where identity shifts. Chosen one, if you feel like you no longer recognize yourself the way you used to, this is not loss. This is transition. This is a message from God, and it is meant to explain what words around you cannot. Being between signals means being between identities. The old version of you can no longer carry what is coming, and the new version is still forming. That space in between feels unsettling because it is sacred. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. Divine calling is not activated all at once. It unfolds through seasons, and the most misunderstood season is the one you are in now. Between seasons is where identity is recalibrated. God removes clarity before giving confirmation, because clarity would tempt you to rush. Without clarity, you must sit with yourself. You must confront motivations, fears, and attachments that could not survive the next level. This is not confusion by accident. It is intentional design. The chosen one often feels alone here. People who once understood you no longer do. Conversations feel shallow. Familiar environments feel heavy. Old goals no longer excite you, yet new direction has not fully arrived. This loneliness is not abandonment, it is refinement. God isolates before he empowers. Spiritual awakening separates you from what once fit because it no longer aligns. That separation hurts, but it also protects. You may notice familiar paths stop working. Effort that once produced results now feels blocked. Doors that used to open easily now remain closed. This is not because you lost favor. It is because you outgrew access. God will not allow you to return to patterns that cannot support who you are becoming. When old strategies fail, it is not punishment. It is redirection. Chosen one. Identity cannot shift in noise. That is why this season feels quiet. God removes external validation so you stop defining yourself by reaction. He removes certainty so you stop leaning on prediction. He removes familiarity so you stop confusing comfort with calling. This is how divine calling takes root deeply instead of superficially. You are learning who you are without applause, urgency, or approval. Spiritual awakening often feels like grief before it feels like freedom. You grieve versions of yourself that were necessary for survival but not meant for destiny. You grieve timelines that no longer apply. You grieve relationships that cannot follow you forward. That grief is real and it deserves compassion. But do not confuse grief with regret. You are not losing yourself. You are shedding what cannot go with you. Return again to the beginning of this truth and let it anchor you. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the shift. You were called into awareness because your light is required. The war you feel is real. It is not against your strength, but against your patience. It is not against your ability, but against your belief. That is why doubt visits during transition. That is why fear whispers when identity loosens. Chosen one. Confusion is not punishment. It is transformation. When identity shifts, the mind resists because it prefers familiarity over truth. But the spirit recognizes expansion even when the body feels uncertain. Trust what is being formed quietly. Trust the silence. Trust the discomfort. This season will not last forever, but it will shape you permanently. Stand firm in this knowing. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are between seasons, and identity is being forged where no one else can see it yet. Your light is necessary, and it is being strengthened, not dimmed. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it, you were called. Why God goes quiet before he moves. Chosen one, this is where many misunderstand the silence and let fear speak louder than truth. Hear me clearly now. This is a message from God, and you are not imagining what you are experiencing. Divine silence is not the absence of movement. It is orchestration. When God goes quiet, it is because something precise is being arranged beyond your awareness. Noise would only interfere with what must align unseen. Human urgency demands constant reassurance. Divine timing does not answer to pressure. This is why silence feels threatening to the mind, but familiar to the spirit. The mind wants proof. The spirit recognizes process. When you are truly walking in divine calling, God reduces signs so you stop depending on confirmation and start developing discernment. That is not withdrawal. That is training. Chosen one, urgency belongs to survival mode. Calling belongs to trust. When God prepares a major shift, He slows external signals so your inner hearing sharpens. Signs decrease before breakthroughs because constant signs would keep you reactive instead of rooted. God is not trying to rush you forward. He is anchoring you deeply so you cannot be shaken when movement begins. Hidden movement is active even when you feel still. While you question your direction, relationships are being repositioned. While finances feel delayed, character is being strengthened. While purpose feels distant, clarity is being refined. Nothing is idle in divine timing. God works in layers you cannot monitor. Silence protects the process from interference, including your own impatience. Spiritual awakening heightens awareness, which is why silence initially increases anxiety. You notice gaps more clearly. You feel pauses more deeply. But over time, silence becomes a teacher. It reveals which thoughts are yours and which are fear. It separates intuition from impulse. This is how discernment is strengthened. Chosen ones are trained to trust without reassurance because their assignment requires internal stability. Understand this truth. If God explained every step, faith would never mature. If signs never stopped, trust would never deepen. Silence teaches you to move from knowing to being. It teaches you to stand firm without applause, certainty, or visible progress. This is where spiritual authority is formed quietly, not publicly. Chosen one signs decrease before breakthroughs because breakthroughs require alignment, not excitement. Excitement burns quickly, alignment sustains. God removes external encouragement so you learn to self-regulate spiritually. This is not to test your worth, it is to protect your calling. Your light is necessary, and necessary light must be steady, not flickering. Return again to the beginning of this message and hear it with clarity. This is a message from God. You are called. The silence you are in is not empty. It is full of intention. The war you feel is real, but it is not proof of danger. It is proof of significance. Resistance increases when refinement is nearly complete. Chosen one, anxiety fades when trust grows. Silence feels heavy only when you believe something is wrong. When you understand divine timing, silence becomes reassurance. It tells you God is ahead of you, not behind you. It tells you movement is being arranged without your effort, forcing it prematurely. Stand strong here. Do not abandon this season. Do not rush what is aligning. You are not unseen. You are not unheard. You are being prepared with precision. Your discernment is sharpening. Your foundation is strengthening. Your light is being protected, so it can last. This is not the end of movement. It is the final quiet before acceleration. Trust it. Honor it. Remain steady within it. If this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it. You were called. The signals you are about to receive. Chosen one, this is where the atmosphere shifts. What once felt quiet will not remain silent. What once felt delayed will reveal itself as exact. This is a message from God, and it is meant to prepare you for what comes next. You are not imagining the internal steadiness settling in you now. That calm is not resignation. It is readiness. Signals are returning, and they will arrive with clarity you cannot mistake. Divine timing does not move gradually when alignment is complete. It accelerates suddenly. That is why the waiting felt long, and the movement will feel fast. When the foundation is set, momentum requires no explanation. You will realize in hindsight that nothing was wasted. Every pause trained you. Every silence strengthened you. Every unanswered question refined your discernment. You were never delayed. You were being synchronized. Chosen one, the moment signals return, they will not resemble the old ones. God does not repeat instructions for evolved awareness. New signals carry authority, not confusion. They feel grounded, not urgent. They arrive without panic. When divine calling activates again, you will not chase it. It will meet you where you stand, prepared. That is how you will know this season is different. Spiritual awakening matures discernment to the point where signs no longer excite the ego, they confirm alignment quietly. You will notice doors opening without force, conversations aligning without effort, opportunities appearing without compromise. This is the reward of waiting. You learned restraint. You learned trust. You learned to move without noise. That spiritual authority cannot be taught any other way. The chosen one always recognizes the shift internally before it manifests externally. Confidence replaces desperation. Patience replaces urgency. You no longer need constant confirmation because your inner compass is calibrated. That is the greatest signal of all. When fear no longer drives your decisions, you know the season has changed. Do not rush this next phase. Acceleration does not mean recklessness. Divine timing unfolds swiftly but precisely. What arrives now is meant to stay. That is why it cannot be forced. Forced movement collapses. Aligned movement sustains. You are stepping into momentum that supports your light instead of draining it. Return again to the beginning of this truth and let it anchor you firmly. This is a message from God. You were called. The war you sensed was real, but it was never meant to defeat you. It was meant to fortify you. Your light is necessary, and it is now protected by wisdom, patience, and discernment. Chosen one, signals are returning because you are ready to receive them without losing yourself. You will not abandon your grounding for speed. You will not trade peace for progress. You have learned that divine calling flows best through calm certainty, not frantic pursuit. Stand steady now. Watch carefully. Move when guided. You will know when the moment arrives because it will feel natural, not forced. This is not the end of waiting. It is the beginning of aligned movement. If this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it. You were called. The moment you step fully into your calling. Chosen one, this is the moment where everything you have endured begins to make sense without needing explanation. Not because every question is answered, but because you no longer require answers to trust yourself. This is a message from God, and it is reaching you now because something inside you has stabilized. You are no longer searching for permission. You are remembering who you are. Part 5 is not about arrival in the way the world defines it. It is about embodiment. It is about the moment you stop waiting to feel ready and realize readiness was formed quietly while you were learning patience. You did not suddenly become strong. You were shaped. You were refined. You were steadied. And now your calling no longer feels distant. It feels present. Chosen one, stepping fully into your calling does not come with fireworks. It comes with calm. It comes with a grounded certainty that does not need to announce itself. This is how divine calling matures. Early calling feels urgent. Mature calling feels inevitable. You are no longer fighting time. You are moving with it. You may notice that the need to prove yourself has dissolved. You no longer feel the pull to convince others of what you carry. That is not because your light dimmed. It is because it stabilized. Light that flickers seeks attention. Light that is steady simply illuminates. Your presence is becoming your message. This is where many misunderstand power. Power does not arrive as force. It arrives as alignment. You now move differently because you trust yourself differently. Decisions no longer feel frantic. Direction no longer feels pressured. You are listening inwardly with clarity that was earned through silence. Spiritual awakening reaches this phase only after ego has loosened its grip. Earlier, you wanted certainty before movement. Now you move with discernment, even when certainty is partial. That is spiritual authority. That is the mark of someone who has been trained, not rushed. Chosen one, this is also where boundaries solidify naturally. You no longer explain your no. You no longer overextend to be understood. You no longer shrink to stay connected. This is not hardness. This is alignment. Your divine calling requires clean energy, not scattered effort. The war you fought internally was not meant to destroy you, it was meant to clarify you. Every doubt you faced stripped away false identity. Every delay weakened attachment to outcomes. Every quiet season taught you how to stand without leaning. Now, when movement comes, you will not lose yourself inside it. This is where hidden movement becomes visible. Not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily. Things begin to align without force. Opportunities meet preparedness. Conversations open doors. Timing clicks. You are not scrambling to catch up. You are present when it arrives. Chosen one, understand this deeply. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping into something prepared. Prepared by restraint. Prepared by patience. Prepared by discernment. Prepared by trust. This is why it feels familiar, even though it is different. This message from God is not telling you to rush forward. It is reminding you that you are already standing where movement can begin. The difference now is that movement will not cost you peace. You will not trade alignment for speed. You will not sacrifice self for success. You may notice that your sensitivity has sharpened without becoming overwhelming. You can feel truth quickly. You can sense misalignment without overthinking. This is not anxiety. This is attunement. This is what happens when spiritual awakening settles into wisdom. Chosen one, your calling does not require perfection. It requires presence. It requires integrity. It requires consistency. You have been trained in all three through stillness. That is why this next phase cannot be forced. It unfolds through responsiveness, not control. Return again to the core truth and let it anchor you. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the readiness you feel. You were called, not because you are flawless, but because you are willing. Your light is necessary because it carries steadiness in a world addicted to urgency. Do not underestimate the power of how you move now. Calm disrupts chaos. Grounded presence disarms fear. Quiet confidence shifts environments. This is leadership without performance. This is influence without pressure. Chosen one, you are no longer asking if you belong here. You know you do. You are no longer waiting for the perfect sign. You recognize alignment when it appears. You are no longer afraid of stillness or movement. You trust both. This is the season where you walk forward without announcing it, where you build without explaining it, where you serve without depleting yourself. This is not withdrawal. This is mastery. If at any point doubt tries to return, remember what it took to bring you here. Remember the silence you survived. Remember the patience you developed. Remember the identity you shed. You did not come this far to question your calling now. Chosen one, stand fully in who you have become. Let movement meet you where you are grounded. Let purpose unfold through you naturally. And if this touched your soul, comment 111. Because you know it now, not as hope, not as theory, but as truth. You were called. Conclusion: you were never stuck. Chosen one, return with me to the very beginning and hear this truth without resistance, without doubt, and without fear. This is a message from God. Not a metaphor, not a coincidence, not something you imagined because you wanted comfort. You were called into this moment because your spirit reached a point where it could finally receive truth without breaking. You were never stuck. You were never abandoned. You were never overlooked. You were always in alignment, even when alignment felt like pressure instead of peace. What you named delay was divine timing guarding you. What you experienced as confusion was spiritual awakening, dismantling old structures that could not carry your future. What felt like silence was hidden movement shaping outcomes beyond your awareness. Nothing about your journey has been accidental. Every pause carried instruction. Every closed door carried protection. Every quiet stretch carried preparation that could not have happened in noise. Chosen one, alignment does not always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like stillness, because alignment requires grounding before acceleration. You were not being held back. You were being positioned. God does not rush what must endure weight. He does not accelerate what must remain stable under pressure. Your divine calling required depth, and depth is forged in seasons where no one claps and no one understands. This message from God arrived exactly on time because now you can hear it without arguing with it. Earlier, fear would have distorted it. Later, you would not have needed the reassurance. Right now, it lands where doubt once lived and settles where anxiety once ruled. That is divine timing. That is how confirmation feels when it is real. Calm, not frantic. Grounded, not urgent. Hidden movement is resolving now. What was forming beneath the surface is beginning to rise naturally. You may already sense it. The urgency has softened, the pressure has lifted. The need to explain yourself has faded. Confidence has replaced desperation. This is not excitement. This is readiness. This is the internal shift that always comes before visible change. Chosen one, patience does not mean passivity. You were never waiting without purpose. You were standing in preparation. You were learning how to remain open without chasing, how to stay alert without forcing, how to trust without proof. That is spiritual maturity. That is the posture of someone who understands divine timing instead of fighting it. You are divinely guided, not delayed. Guidance is subtle because it works from the inside outward. God was shaping your discernment, your restraint, your ability to move without panic. Your light is necessary, and that is why it had to be protected before it could be revealed. Unprotected light burns out. Prepared light endures. Do not minimize the internal war you survived. It was real. It attacked your patience. It attacked your identity. It attacked your belief in your own calling. You questioned yourself in silence. You doubted your progress when nothing seemed to move. You wondered if you missed something or failed something. And yet you stayed present. You stayed listening. You stayed open. That is not weakness. That is proof of calling. Spiritual awakening is not dramatic the way people expect. It does not always come with certainty. It comes with endurance, with learning to remain gentle while becoming strong, with choosing trust over control, with standing without guarantees. You have done that. You are doing that. That is why this message reaches you now with clarity instead of chaos. Circle back again and let this seal deeply within you. This is a message from God. You are not imagining the confirmation you feel. You are not creating meaning where there is none. Your awareness is expanding because your assignment requires it. Your light is necessary because others will find safety in your presence, even before they understand why. Chosen one, accept your timing fully. Stop negotiating with the past. Stop rushing the future. Stand here, grounded, present, and ready. You are exactly where alignment placed you. You always were. And now you know it with certainty instead of hope. If you feel that confirmation settling gently in your spirit, comment 777. Let it be a quiet declaration of trust, not urgency. And if this touched your soul, comment 111, because you know it now, beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond explanation. You were called.